If she does this with her hands, you might think it means nothing, just a small movement, a subtle gesture, a passing touch against her own fingers while she looks at you. But sometimes, in that quiet, almost invisible moment, she has already chosen you, and most men miss it. Before we go deeper, take a second to like and subscribe if you value honest conversations about relationships and psychology. It helps this message reach men who were never taught how to see what's right in front of them. Now let's talk about something important. Men are often trained to look for loud signals, obvious flirting, clear verbal confirmation, dramatic moments, but attraction, real attraction, is rarely loud. It is quiet. It is physical. It leaks through the body long before it's spoken out loud. One of the most overlooked signals a woman gives when she has emotionally and physically opened herself to you is what she does with her hands. Watch carefully. When a woman feels safe and genuinely drawn to a man, her hands soften, her fingers play. She may slowly trace the rim of her glass. She may adjust her necklace repeatedly. She might brush her hair back, not because it's in the way, but because her nervous system is activated, not anxious, activated. There's a difference. When she's uncomfortable, her hands are rigid, defensive, closed, arms crossed, fingers gripping objects tightly. But when she's attracted and emotionally leaning toward you, her hands become expressive, fluid, open. And here's what most men don't realize. Hands are directly connected to emotional vulnerability. When a woman begins touching her own hands, rubbing her palms together gently, interlocking her fingers slowly, lightly stroking her wrist, she is often self-soothing through attraction. Her body is processing desire and anticipation at the same time. It's subtle, but it's powerful. And when she does something even more specific, when her hands begin to move closer into your space, lingering near yours, lightly brushing yours accidentally, and not pulling away immediately, that is rarely random. Women do not accidentally maintain contact. If she keeps her hand there a second longer than necessary, if she doesn't flinch, if her fingers relax instead of retreat, she has already emotionally stepped closer to you. The tragedy is this. Many men freeze in that moment. They second guess, they overthink, they wait for a clearer sign. But attraction has a window, and hesitation can feel like rejection, not because you did anything wrong, but because when she makes that subtle move, she's taking a risk. She's saying, without words, I feel something. Do you? If you fail to meet her energy, calmly, confidently, respectfully, she may slowly pull back, not out of anger, not out of games, but out of self-protection. Women don't need dramatic gestures. They need emotional attunement. And your ability to read what her hands are doing might reveal more than anything she says out loud. Because when her body chooses you before her mouth does, that's when you either rise into the moment or you lose it. And what makes this even deeper is understanding why she signals this way in the first place. That's where most men finally begin to see what's really happening beneath the surface. What happens next is subtle, but it carries weight most men completely overlook. When a woman begins to play with her hands around you, it's not just a nervous tick. It's an emotional code, a language of desire and trust she may not even be consciously aware she's speaking. Her body is telling a story long before her lips ever do. Notice how her fingers move. Does she lightly touch her wrist or run her thumb along her knuckles? That's her nervous system leaning into the moment. She's processing attraction, safety, and curiosity all at once. She's evaluating, can I trust this man? Will he respond to what I feel, or will he overstep? This is where most men miss the point. They see a hand movement and think it's meaningless, or worse, they overthink it, turning a simple gesture into a test. But the truth is, her body is speaking first, and it's offering you an opportunity, a chance to respond with calm confidence. Here's the key. She will mirror your energy. If you're grounded, present, and respectful, she will stay closer, her gestures becoming more fluid, more intimate, almost magnetic. If you're hesitant, anxious, or distracted, her hands will retreat. Slowly, almost imperceptibly. That tiny retreat is not a rejection of you as a person. It's a natural boundary, a signal that the window for connection is narrowing. And yes, timing matters. Women often give a pre-choice with their hands before making it clear verbally or emotionally. This is why men who understand body language often move forward successfully while others stumble. It's not about manipulation, it's about awareness, about reading the signals she's giving without needing her to spell it out. Sometimes she will intertwine her fingers in front of herself. Other times, she might touch the side of her face lightly, let her fingertips hover near yours, or brush an object in her hands with a languid rhythm. These are all forms of self-soothing, yes, but they also indicate a comfort level with your presence. Her body is softening, opening, preparing for something she might not even have words for yet. And when she does this while maintaining eye contact, even briefly, it's not just a fluke. That combination, eyes plus hands, is a powerful sign of pre-selection. She is already leaning into attraction, mentally picturing connection, and emotionally assessing whether you will step into the moment with her or let it slip away. So here's the critical insight. Learning to read these gestures isn't about tricks or games. It's about tuning into the rhythm of her body, understanding the signals she can't or won't put into words, and responding with confidence and respect. That's what separates men who are simply noticed from men who are chosen. And the truth most men don't know, the part that changes everything, is that when her hands start to move like this, she's already giving you permission to connect. But permission requires action, respectful, attentive, decisive action. Because if you wait too long, if you overthink it, the energy shifts, the moment fades, and her body, once open, begins to protect itself again. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to play any games. You just need to see what she's showing you, respond to it. And that's when the subtle magic of her hands becomes a roadmap for something far deeper than words can ever capture. Now, let's dive into why this works on a deeper, almost subconscious level. A woman's hands are extensions of her nervous system. They communicate safety, interest, and desire before her mind even has to make sense of it. When she plays with her hands near you, or touches her own skin in a gentle, deliberate way, her body is saying, I'm curious, I'm engaged, I feel a connection here. And there's something most men don't realize. Attraction isn't built on words. It's built on attention, presence, and subtle emotional attunement. Words can lie. Body language rarely does. Her gestures with her hands are honest, unfiltered, and immediate. They reveal what she feels before she even understands it herself. Consider this. If she touches her wrists or fingers repeatedly while talking to you, she's self-soothing. But it's not fear. It's excitement. It's anticipation. It's her body acknowledging that there is a risk, the risk of feeling drawn to you, and leaning into it anyway. That's a profound sign of interest. Most men would miss it because it's not dramatic, it's not loud, and it doesn't scream, I like you. But it does, quietly, insistently, powerfully. And here's the crucial point. Women often give these signs before they consciously choose someone. This is why so many men feel confused. She may not say, I'm interested in you, but her hands are already saying it. She's already imagining possibilities, running scenarios in her mind, and measuring your response. Her body has chosen first. Her mind will follow. But here's the challenge. Men tend to hesitate. You see the gesture, you recognize it, and then doubt creeps in. You ask yourself, am I reading this right? Should I wait? Should I test her? That hesitation is deadly in moments like this. The window for connection is narrow. When a woman's hands are already signaling attraction, hesitation from you can feel like a retreat. Her body, sensing uncertainty, will naturally tighten, withdraw, or subtly protect itself. The real opportunity lies in presence. Calm, grounded presence. Not rushing, not forcing, not overanalyzing, just being aware of what her hands are saying and responding in a way that matches her energy. If she's soft, playful, or lingering in her gestures, your response should be aligned, confident, relaxed, attentive. That's what reinforces the connection. That's what tells her body, yes, you're safe, you're seen, you're understood. And it doesn't take a dramatic action. A small, respectful touch, or simply moving closer in alignment with her energy, is enough to validate what her hands are already expressing. That's why the most successful men aren't the ones who try to charm with words. They're the ones who can read the quiet, subtle language of attraction and respond to it without hesitation. Her hands are giving you a map, a roadmap into her mind and heart, if you're willing to pay attention. The question is, will you follow it with awareness and confidence or let it pass unnoticed like so many men do? This is where most men fail, not because she isn't interested, not because they're unattractive, but because they overlook the pre-choice signals that are right in front of them. And once you understand this, everything about subtle attraction begins to make sense. The truth is, her body will often decide before her mouth does. If you miss it, the chance fades. But if you step in with clarity and respect, you can move from being noticed to being chosen. Now let's explore the moment when the subtle gesture of her hands becomes a silent invitation, one that most men completely misread. Imagine you're sitting across from her. She's leaning slightly forward, her fingers tracing a pattern on her wrist or lightly brushing together. Her movements are slow, fluid, deliberate, yet natural. She's not fidgeting out of discomfort. She's communicating without words. She's already signaling that she's emotionally open. She's leaning in a way that most men never notice until it's too late. Here's the psychological truth. The hands don't lie. When she keeps her hands in your proximity, when they occasionally graze an object near yours, or even the edge of your hand, it's a subtle test, but not a game. It's a test of presence and awareness. She's silently gauging whether you can meet her energy, whether you are attuned to her unspoken signals. Most men fail because they overcomplicate it. They think attraction must be demonstrated through overt gestures or dramatic words, but by the time she's playing with her hands this way, she's already emotionally leaning toward you. If you respond with hesitation, she senses it. She may slowly withdraw, tightening her gestures, crossing her arms unconsciously, or simply redirecting her energy elsewhere. This isn't rejection, it's self-protection. Her body is designed to retreat when it feels uncertainty, not danger. The power comes from recognition and timing. When you notice her hands and understand what they are communicating, you have a rare opportunity, a chance to engage her emotionally, to mirror her openness, to move with confidence without forcing or rushing anything. This is about attunement, about being psychologically present. The moment is fragile and yet potent. It's in these moments that men either rise into connection or lose it completely. Another thing to observe, the more she allows her hands to linger, soft touches, self-soothing gestures, brushing near your space, the more her body is saying, I'm curious, I feel safe, I want to see where this goes. The key is not to overthink or misinterpret these signs. Instead, match her energy. Be calm, be grounded, be attentive. Let your presence affirm the attraction her body is already signaling. The real insight most men never grasp is this. Attraction is created and confirmed in the silent moments, not the loud ones. Her hands are giving you permission, but permission is only meaningful if you step in consciously. You don't need to force intimacy, you don't need to say anything clever, and you certainly don't need to rush. You just need to understand the language she's already speaking and respond with aligned presence. And here's the subtle, almost invisible layer most men miss entirely. The longer she keeps her hands soft and near you, the more she is imagining closeness, mentally and emotionally. She's already picturing a connection. Your actions now will either solidify it or dissolve it. You are standing at the threshold of something she has quietly, unconsciously offered, but it requires your awareness, your calmness, and your emotional attunement to cross that threshold successfully. Now we arrive at the point where everything you've observed, every subtle movement of her hands, every soft touch and lingering gesture, comes together. This is where most men fail and where understanding her body language can completely change the outcome. When a woman has already emotionally leaned toward you, her hands are signaling permission. She is quietly inviting you to step closer, to match her energy, to meet her where she is emotionally. But permission alone isn't enough. It requires action, calm, confident, and respectful action. The moment is delicate and hesitation can feel like rejection. Here's the deeper truth. Attraction is as much about timing as it is about presence. When her fingers brush near yours or she touches her own hands in a way that seems unconscious, she is revealing vulnerability. She's showing curiosity, desire, and a willingness to connect. But she's also testing your emotional attunement. Will you notice? Will you respond with awareness and confidence? Or will you let the moment slip? Many men make the same mistake. They wait for verbal confirmation, thinking the attraction isn't real until she says it out loud. But by the time she's playing with her hands this way, her body has already made a choice. Her mind will follow if you respond appropriately. Ignoring these signs or overthinking them is the fastest way to lose the connection before it even begins. So, what should you do? Observe, feel her energy, mirror her subtle movements with calm attentiveness. If she lightly touches her wrist or fingers, you can respond with aligned presence, not by forcing physical contact, but by subtly matching her openness. Lean in slightly, maintain eye contact, let your posture convey confidence without aggression. Your body can speak the language her hands are already using. And here's the part most men don't realize: the longer you wait, the more protective her body becomes. Her hands may retreat, her posture may shift, her attention may drift. Not because she isn't interested, but because her nervous system naturally guards itself when uncertainty appears. Acting with awareness, recognizing the pre-choice signals and moving in alignment is what transforms fleeting attraction into something real. Remember, this isn't manipulation, it's observation, understanding, and emotional intelligence. Her hands have already chosen you. Now it's your turn to rise into the moment, to step forward with calm confidence, to honor the vulnerability she's offering, and to meet her energy without overthinking, without hesitation. When you master this, you'll see it everywhere: the soft touches, the self soothing gestures, the lingering movements near you. You'll understand that the body often chooses before the mind does, and you'll know exactly when to act. Not recklessly, not aggressively, but wisely and respectfully. This is the unspoken truth most men never learn. She's already made a choice with her hands. Your awareness, your presence, and your response determine whether you become the man she consciously embraces or the one she quietly lets slip away. The signs were always there. Now it's up to you to step into them.